In 2020, Bong Joon-ho won the Academy Award for Parasite. Now it's time for his follow-up, his next film. Let's talk about Mickey 17. Now before I continue with this video, if you like movie content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Also check out my playlist in the description for more movie related content. Anyway, back to the video. So yeah, Mickey 17 is the next film from director Bong Joon-ho, who basically exploded in popularity when he made Parasite and when Parasite won the Oscar for Best Picture, and I think Bong Joon-ho won for Best Director. So this is his next film. And what does he have in store for us in this latest project? Well, similar to Snowpiercer, which he directed, as well as Parasite, we are tackling issues of class divide. So if you've watched the trailer, you will see that Mickey is actually someone who signed up to be an expendable on this voyage to colonize an alien planet. And what an expendable is basically someone who goes out there and does all the dangerous work that could kill them, because at the end of the day, they can just be reprinted again, right? They can be reprinted. A new version of them can be printed. So all their thoughts, their memories, their entire personality is uploaded to a brick, and from that brick they can use it to reprint a new version of this person. And Mickey 17 follows the 17th Mickey, the 17th version of Mickey, and that whole reprinting of people after they've died brings up this huge ship of Theseus thought experiment, and that's what this movie kind of touches on a bit. Because if you've seen the trailers for this film, you see that Mickey 17 was supposed to die, but he didn't. So when he makes his way back to his room, he finds out that they've already printed Mickey number 18. And this movie kind of explores class divide in a contemporary sense, because even though the movie is set in a futuristic setting, there are some parallels with our current reality. Because this voyage to colonize this foreign planet is being led by a failed politician, played beautifully by Mark Ruffalo, who has a ton of parallels with a certain president of the United States. I mean, there are definitely parallels, but at least this guy's wife actually loves him. She may be using him, but she definitely ain't disgusted by him, unlike some other politicians' wives. So yeah, this failed politician who isn't very religious somehow gets backing from a religious group who want to push their own agenda, and they embark on this journey to colonize the foreign planet. But for that, they not only need crew of people to kind of help colonize this island, they need an expendable. And so Robert Pattinson's character, Mickey Barnes, who is in serious debt on Earth, decides to get off Earth and signs up as an expendable, not knowing what that actually means, but it's his fastest ticket onto that ship. And so yeah, it's on this ship where the class divide starts to form. So you have this politician and his wife and sort of the spokesperson, priest of the church slash company that is sponsoring this whole trip up in the upper echelons. And then you have sort of like the security enforcers, the sort of special agents a little bit below that, and then you have the regular people below that, and at the final bottom rung of this mini society you have Mickey. Because Mickey is an expendable, he's someone who can die and it wouldn't matter. And that's another question that's brought up by this movie, is the value of human life. If you can die and just be reprinted again, meaning you're functionally immortal in a certain sense, how much is your life truly worth? And in this movie, with this class divide, it turns out your life is worth pretty much nothing, because you signed up to be an expendable. You signed up to be killed over and over again, whether it's to do dangerous jobs out in space or to be infected by a deadly pathogen so people can develop a vaccine. You are going to be used and abused, because at the end of the day, you could just be reprinted again. And also you have this politician at the top rung of society who basically just postures. He acts like he knows what he's doing, but the truth is he's just incredibly clueless and is just riding on momentum and blind support from his followers. like a certain president of the United States. Which is funny because this movie wasn't directed recently, even though it just released. It's been on the shelves for a while now. It's been delayed time and time again until this point, and it was supposed to come out last year. But yeah, compared to Parasite, which takes a look at the class divide in Korean society and is a little bit more grounded and gritty, this is definitely a lot more fantastical because it is a sci-fi and it takes a bit more of an, I would say, somewhat comical look at class divide. Actually, let me correct that. I would say it takes a more whimsical look at this class divide. It's definitely more whimsical than something like Snowpiercer, and there's definitely more comedy here, but at the core of the movie it's still about this class divide and the value of human life. On top of that, there's a whole thing about colonization because they go to this alien planet and lo and behold, there are already aliens there, and now we have to drive them out. As humans, we have to drive them out and exterminate this other species so that we may take our rightful place on this planet even though they were here first. So there's this whole message about colonization. And to be honest, the movie is really blunt with its messages because the fact that I can talk about all these themes that are in the movie means that they're not kind of folded into the subtext of the movie. I mean, the themes of this movie are overt, right? It's not folded into the subtext of this movie. It's there, it's very blunt, and it's easy for you to pick up on. And I would consider that a little bit of a flaw because it's very front and center instead of being conveyed through subtext. But that aside, the technical aspects of the film is incredible. I don't know if they built sets for this spaceship that they're in, but some of the locations look really good on screen. I believe they did build some sets on a soundstage, and that's why some of those sort of locations in the ship and also in the planet that they're about to colonize look really good. And as for the aliens, I don't know how much of it was practical effects and how much of it was CGI, but even those look good, but they keep the designs pretty simple, so it shouldn't be too hard to do entirely through CGI. As for the performances, I think there are two standouts. One is Mark Ruffalo, who is playing a caricature of a certain American president. But he is hamming it up, and he's got these false teeth. But yeah, he still delivers an incredible performance. But truly the weight of this movie rests on one actor, and that is Robert Pattinson. Because he's not just playing Mickey 17, he's also playing Mickey 18. And that's where it comes to this whole ship of Theseus argument, because if you replace everything about a person externally, like if you replace the flesh and bone that you're built with, but you still have the same personality, are you still the same person? If you replace everything with new parts, is it still the same person? And this movie kind of says no, because Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 have very different demeanors. And you can see one is grateful for life because somehow when he was supposed to die, he survived, while the other one is kind of just pissed off at everything because he has died 17 times before. And they have very different outlooks on how to do things. And that contrast kind of helps identify which is which, but also it poses a few philosophical questions. So all in all, Mickey 17 is a great follow-up from Bong Joon-ho. It is a very different film when compared to Parasite. It's a lot more whimsical and a lot more over the top, I would say, but it definitely asks similar questions that Parasite asks while also posing a few others. I give Mickey 17 an 8 out of 10. Anyway, have you seen Mickey 17? If you have, please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.